Subscribe or you'll be visited by the toll troll. Literally every single business is asking for a tip now. It's like that American Plus tip meme come to life. Gelato shop Wagey turns the touch screen towards me with 25% tip already highlighted and glares at me. Dispensary Wagey who walked 3 feet and grabbed a jar off a shelf clicks her tongue when I select no tip. The heckin' oil change place asked for a tip and when I hit no the screen actually said are you sure? When did it become my job as the customer to pay your wages because your silly bosses are greedy mentally ill freaks? Screw this society. It's almost like we need to hang CEOs, landlords and politicians or something. In capitalist country you haggle seller. In socialist America seller haggle you. OP admits he eats ice cream, smokes pot, and can't change his own oil and calls others silly heads. Go to taco store, usually tip $1, one day ask if the tips go to the employees, turn out the tips went straight to the employer. Stop tipping after that and don't feel any sort of guilt either. It's over for souls who cave to social pressure. I always hit custom and put 0 on those. Joggers should be tipping me for giving them business LMAO. Sorry poor guy Wagey, I'm not getting dirty climbing on the ground under my car and I'm not tipping. Press skip, feel no guilt, leave a 1-star review mentioning the tip begging. Why is this so hard? The gas station I usually go to buy cigarettes has a plastic jar with a ripped piece of paper taped onto it with the word orphanage scribbled onto it. I'm pretty sure what he's doing is illegal, but the one time I asked the cashier for more info about which orphanage this money is going to, the only thing I got back in response is typical response of yes yes very good or something along those lines. Death to the great Satan. It's funny how normies can't think for themselves. People used to all defend tipping whenever someone was against it. Brainwashed and conditioned until their pockets got thinner, now they're complaining. If you don't tip your food comes out way worse. It's stupid, getting takeout has been ruined. I hit no tip with 0 hesitation. I'm not there to pay the employer's wages. Here only waiters are expecting tips. I have heard Zoomers started tipping hairdressers when they get bussin' haircuts. I just leave 1-star reviews if somebody begs for a tip. Boomer owners flip their spit over 1 stars for that type of thing. Pay your wages like poop then have them blame their crap wage on individual customers not paying extra instead of their boss. How did they get away with this stuff, brothers? It just sounds like something out of a satire. I want to get an oil change and I was prompted for a tip. For a heckin' oil change. Now I tip literally nobody. I've been a generous tipper my whole life. I literally never leave less than a 20% tip, and if service is really poor I'll still leave a 15% tip. I'm about to stop tipping across the board. I'm very close. Tipping culture has obviously gotten out of hand and OP is right, it's not up to the customer to compensate workers who are underpaid. Service/restaurant industry I get because it's customary. But you can miss me with tipping the heckin' Starbucks barista or donut shop employee. PHS is petty, but I have to imagine that over 75% of the people working these service jobs and turn screen, please tip sorts of jobs are the flaming silly head rainbow alphabet soup types who despise me for being a white guy and want open borders, aka they're perfectly fine with diminishing wages. So that's another reason to not tip them. The tips don't even go to the employees often. I was at a concert over the weekend and bought a t-shirt at the little merchandise stands. Guy spun the tablet around with a tip request for stepping 3 feet away to grab a t-shirt out of a box. LMAO, heckin' insanity. Tipping is pretty based. I give myself exemplary customer service and uphold all company values every time I work the self-checkout at my local grocery store. As such, I elect to tip myself a minimum of 25%, paid in the form of goods which I do not scan. Americans just can't figure out that all they have to do is stop eating goislop and delivered goislop and cook their own meals from real ingredients. No, how am I supposed to live when I have to pay 25% extra for my goislop? I look at the server, if they're undesirable I press 0%/skip lol, I'm not even kidding. I do the same when I see someone trying to merge into traffic or cross the road. Just don't tip, you massive silly head, it's that simple. If they rage just laugh and call them poor. It really is that simple, you heckin' jogger. 2 different restaurants I frequent added a mandatory 18% tip to your check in the past couple of years. Tired of undesirables leaving 5% or nothing at all, I guess. But yeah, it's getting tiresome being asked for a tip every time I pick up a coffee or grab a bagel or something. They haven't started asking at the grocery stores yet where I live, but I'm sure that's coming. This is the typical burger short-term strip mining mentality on full display. Some smart people figured out then can fleece the compliant soy boys with tipping in virtually every interaction, and for a few quarters profits are up and MBA Unan gets promoted and then uses that to leverage himself into an even better job/industry, leaving the mess behind after that. The followers pick up on the tactic and go totally overboard, expanding the tipping begs to too many thing at once and upping the percent amount to what here is displayed a ludicrous 100% tip. in turn quickly burning out the normies and ending it all in a soured mood against the entire thing itself. Many such cases. In the end, the waiters that really depend on them get screwed, and then so many places need to go permanently out of business. At least the inflation has stopped the global export of this silliness cold dead in its tracks. Reminder that nothing happens if you don't tip. They won't refuse you service next time, they won't cry crocodile tears, they won't spit in your food, and life will go on. Most tip-based jobs are actually making well over minimum wage as well. Don't listen to liars. When I was a poor schmuck delivering pizzas in college, I always preached about how important tipping was and looked down on people who didn't give any tips. Now that I'm older and have a nice paying career, I don't tip squat. I bartended throughout college and even now will still moonlight every once in a while for each cash. Given my experience as a tipped worker, I've always been a great tipper. However, screw this squat. I refuse to tip anyone that isn't my barber, bartender, or waiter. Cashiers begging for tips is a disgrace. One way to stop this is to pay with cash. The only problem with paying with cash that I've noticed is how possible poor Zoomers are at counting change, especially when it comes to coins or larger bills where you're purposefully trying to get them to give you a specific denomination. I give the Starbucks wagies $1 if they're female. I generally tip 15 to 20% at restaurants. I give my barber $5. That's about all I'm willing to do. There should be a distinction between giving a tip for good service and paying their wage. Yes, Unan, I was just complaining about this the other day. I'm legit starting to notice people giving bad customer service if you don't tip for takeout. It's heckin' hilarious, and I don't give a heck if you think I'm a piece of squat for not tipping. The only time I'll heckin' tip is when it's delivery or I'm being serviced at a restaurant. That's it. Just hit skip or type 0. I'm about to travel to Canada from Europe. Do they tip there? Tipping the barber, that's also a very American thing to do. If you tip negative money, you get a discount. Here's a tip: don't eat yellow snow. I only tip ugly people. I love working remotely and leaving the craphole USA. I love giving myself the lowest tax possible. I love not having health insurance. I love tipping 0. I love stringing roasties along for sex if they aren't virgins. I love not paying for 4chan pass.